Before Cubex, it was a very labor-intensive system.
We basically had chaos in our inventory management. There were drugs and supplies everywhere.
They were used to just picking stuff off a shelf or a drawer and often leaving the product out or in disarray.
It was a very manual system. We have a purchasing person who would order things when they ran low.
If you have these pads and you're going to order from a certain company, you say, well, they'll call you on Tuesday. So on Monday, another company calls and you think, oh, I'll just give an order to them. And you don't even know the prices and you can't control the prices.
I used to get notes all the time on my desk. We're out of this, we're out of that. Where is this, where is that? And I don't get them anymore.
We would manually have to count everything in the hospital periodically. We would manually have to check our inventories weekly to determine what drugs needed to be ordered.
The pharmacy area was a little bit more controlled, but what we would tend to do is have a lot of redundancy so that we would never run out, and so we would tend to over-order.
We had no idea whether things were walking out the door or not.
There was no accountability as far as what our inventory was worth.
A person physically would have to place phone calls on each drug to place the orders. And then when the drugs or supplies came in, we would have to manually enter them back into our inventory system. So it was inefficient. Cubex allows us to address the second largest expense category in veterinary medicine. That is inventory.
We've found in the first 2 months that we had over 80 items that we've never used at all during that 2-month period. And carrying that forward, many of those drugs we still haven't used. And so there's a huge list of drugs that we've never touched for months.
It has streamlined the way that we order, the way that we carry inventory, the efficiencies that we have in our inventory.
The Cubex allows for a much tighter control of the product because you know exactly where it is. There's not one hiding somewhere else in a cupboard that somebody forgot to put away.
This was probably one of the best management decisions that we've made because it's not just that you can see where everything is, you can control it. It saves us around about 10–12% on our drug inventory cost per month.
It's a data-driven device. It's not just the cabinet that's helping us, it's the data that's behind the cabinet that's most important to us, that allows us to run our practice better. It's not just a fancy vending machine, it's the data that we're getting that's most important to us.
I can do an enormous amount of advanced planning that I couldn't do before. I couldn't even come close to it. So it's just been a wonderful, wonderful change. It's opened up a whole new realm of possibilities.
It would be hard to consider going back to the old way because of the data that we're getting from Cubex, and as our practice matures in sophistication, we really need that data to make decisions. And
it's like somebody turned on a bright light. Cubex allowed us to have an orderly understanding of our supply chain.
Almost every new employee coming into the hospital says, wow, this is a fabulous system. I wish the hospital that I had worked at before had something like this. I know where everything is. I can find it easily. You don't run out of things all the time. And that's all they're seeing from their perspective. And that's just one small aspect of the benefits that Cubex provides. From a management standpoint, the benefits are huge.
What if your pharmacy and supplies were stored in an easy-to-access secure cabinet where you could manage and automatically reorder items while at the same time improve hospital profitability? What if you could turn your pharmacy and supply operation into a business within a business? With Cubex, you can. Here's how it works. Within each Cubex cabinet are shelves, drawers, and secure compartments to organize and store all the pharmacy and supplies needed for your hospital, including controlled substances. Employees simply access the Cubex by fingerprint identification or by entering a pre-assigned identification code. They then select the patient they are retrieving items for from a list of current patients. Once the patient is selected, the user chooses what they wish to remove for that patient from a list of available items and inputs the quantity desired. A light flashes to indicate the location of the item. The door unlocks, and the user presses the Take button on the face of the drawer or shelf. The Cubex software then subtracts that item from the current inventory level. After removing the item, the user closes the door and presses the Exit button, which ends the transaction. The cabinet locks securely. Returning an item is just as easy. The user logs in, selects the patient they wish to return for, and then selects the item from the list. They then indicate the amount they are returning and press the Return Item button. The light of the item being returned will light up and guide them to the item's location. The user simply opens the door or drawer, presses the Return button, and the item is counted back into the cabinet inventory. Items such as controlled substances are stocked in secure, double-locked Cubex narcotic drawers, which can be configured to require witness authentication and item countbacks. Users follow the same process to gain access to the cabinet and select items for the patient. When a witness is required, a prompt will display on the screen, and the witness will be required to input their user ID and password before the drawer will open. The user removes the item, closes the drawer, and presses the Exit button, which ends the transaction. The cabinet locks securely. Cubex can integrate with your practice management software, ensuring all charges are captured from the time the patient is checked in until they check out. At the same time, the system keeps track of pharmacy and supplies as they are used and sends orders directly to suppliers for replenishment via the MyCubex web-hosted software. This way, it's easy to track, order, and analyze data for all inventory items. For the first time, a hospital manager can make business decisions based on the overall costs of pharmacy and supply management. With Cubex, any hospital can manage their pharmacy and supply as a business within a business, saving money and time.